Hello, I'm Jonathan Sutherland, and this is the Scottish Football Podcast. All the news, views, and analysis you need on Monday, the 2nd of March. And we had yet another whirlwind of an Old Firm derby.
Up comes Hatate, right footed, saved, the rebound, saved as well, but it's forced in! Celtic are the equaliser! And the third time I'm asking, Hatate denied twice, but eventually Celtic force it home.
Plenty of goals, plenty of drama, but neither side able to get what would have been a vital victory. As for Hearts though, a big 3 points.
Goal! Goal! Goal for Hearts. It has been coming. Claudio Braga. It's as Aberdeen defence ripped apart.
Victory over Aberdeen means Hearts are now only 9 games away from the league title. And has the Kilmarnock revival come to a crashing halt?
Oh, Falkirk hit 5, and it's Dylan Tate again. Kilmarnock about to make 2 substitutes. They'll come on, and the score will be Falkirk 5, Kilmarnock 1.
We'll guide you through all the weekend's Premiership drama.
The Scottish Football Podcast from BBC Sports Scotland.
We are recording this straight after doing Sunday Sports Scene, so I'm delighted to say we're joined by Peter Grant and Andy Halliday. The big breaking news at the end of Sports Scene there was Andy Halliday on the verge of his big comeback for Motherwell, seizing up with cramp at the end of Sports Scene, Andy. Quite incredible.
And just as the cramp came, the camera panned to me, so I was biting my teeth to make sure I wasn't showing any sign of weakness on the camera, but thankfully I'm all right now.
Lack of professionalism, no fluids, you know what I mean?
Brilliant. So you'll be OK for training with Jens Bertolansky tomorrow?
I'll be OK, thankfully.
But of course, winning the title is irrelevant to Jens. I noticed him saying that on Thursday. I thought that was such great managerial mind games, and the word irrelevant. I mean, the whole point is about winning the league. We've kind of forgotten about in this last 40 years because obviously only Celtic and Rangers have done it. I know he's just trying to deflect, but this title charge by Motherwell, you're going to be lending your strength to it in big style now, Andy, no doubt. And it's a critical few weeks coming up for every side. But as we were talking about on the radio, when the league action resumes, it is conceivable that Motherwell could be in second place by the time Rangers play their next Premiership match.
Yeah, it's unbelievable, and to be fair, they'll be happy I'm back. They've been missing me since I've been away, so it's been, we say it so many times, it has been the most incredible season.
Yeah.
And I think for me at this moment in time, I think that Hearts have been the best team in the league, the most consistent team in the league, and I think that Motherwell have been the best footballing side in the league. I mean, who would envisage that, especially now we're sitting in the 1st of March. As you quite rightly pointed out, there's so many mitigating factors of what could happen over the next couple of weeks that it's quite possible, obviously, that Motherwell are sitting second in the table. Celtic obviously go to Aberdeen on Wednesday. I think obviously Celtic will be big favourites going into that game on Wednesday night, but this season just shows you that nobody's favourites at any point in time, so you just never know what's going to happen. But one thing's an absolute guarantee. I mean, it's for me, it's the most engrossing league in Europe by a country mile at this moment in time, and you've probably not been able to say that about a league for a long period.
I am absolutely loving it. I think everybody listening to this is absolutely loving it, Peter. Not so sure about everybody involved, if they're absolutely loving it, but it must be hugely exciting nonetheless. Before I just come to you, Peter, I'm just going to run through the top of the table just to clarify everything. Hearts are top on 63 points. Rangers are second on 57 points, so 6 points behind. Then Celtic are third on 55 points, but they've got a game in hand, which they play against Aberdeen on Wednesday night. And Motherwell are fourth on 53 points. Again, they've got a game in hand which they play away against Dundee this coming weekend. Obviously, it's mainly a Scottish Cup weekend, but Motherwell will be playing Dundee. So, just for argument's sake, Motherwell and Celtic both win their games in hand. Celtic would suddenly be second in the table with 58 points, 1 point ahead of Rangers. Motherwell would be on 56 points, just 1 point behind Rangers. It's all hypotheticals, what ifs and all the rest of it. But right now, let's start with Motherwell, since we've just been talking about it. They just don't look like a side that are going to lose, and obviously a 2-0 victory with Tawanda Maswanise getting 2 of the goals there against Dundee United at the weekend. It just keeps on going. The clean sheets keep coming, the goals keep coming, and there's no sign of a let-up, is there?
No, they've been the best team by far. There's absolutely no doubt. I know Hearts have been excellent. Hearts play a certain style and ask a lot of questions of you. But what Motherwell do is the hardest way to play football. You know, you've got to mix it. Your players have got to be confident. Everybody seems to know what they're doing. And it's great credit to the manager, but the players have got to take a lot of credit as well. They must work exceptionally hard on the training pitch. And that's what you've got to do as a coach if you want to be successful. But then the players have got to buy into it. When it's not going well, do you continue with it? And Motherwell have been fantastic. And as I say, the best team I enjoy watching, I must admit, they're the best team I've seen. by a country mile. The one I get excited to go and watch and say, watch them playing in. It wouldn't surprise me if they get the best results going into the last 6 because nobody looks forward to playing against them. Hearts will ask a lot of questions, and I'd much rather be in Hearts' position than anybody's position. You know, with the points in the bag, the games played, all that stuff. But Motherwell's going to have a big say in it, whether that's taking points off Hearts, taking points off Celtic, taking points off Rangers. They're going to massively have a big say in it. And it wouldn't surprise me if they get closer and closer because their team and their quality's been there all season, so I don't see that stopping in any time soon unless Andy comes back.
If he gets over this injury, obviously, as well, yeah. But yeah, as I mentioned, Celtic away at Aberdeen on Wednesday, Motherwell take on Dundee on Saturday, and then the following weekend, it's hugely fascinating because Celtic are at home to Motherwell on the Saturday. Hearts are away at Kilmarnock on the Saturday night, and then Rangers have to wait until the Sunday, Andy, to play away at St Mirren. By then, things could have changed markedly. The pressure keeps on flip-flopping. We should mention Hearts at this point. They are top of the table. They got that 1-0 victory against Aberdeen at Tynecastle in front of Sir Alex Ferguson. What did you make of that win? Obviously, it was a narrow victory in the end, but another vital 3 points.
I thought it was a very Hearts-like performance. I think that's the third straight 1-0 victory at Tynecastle. I must admit though, I thought that was one where they deserved a wider margin of victory. I thought they were excellent in the first half. I thought they constantly asked questions at Aberdeen. I think Aberdeen showed exactly why they've not scored a goal away from home in 2026 because I don't think they posed Hearts anywhere near enough threat until maybe the last 10-15 minutes of the game. And I think Hearts have been that side throughout the season that once they go ahead in games, it's very, very difficult to then come back and take points off them because I don't see an area of weakness within them. You know, they've got goals throughout the team. Braga and Shankar are in the top 4 goal scorers of the campaign. I think they're really strong in the middle of the pitch, whether it's Cammy Devlin or Benny Beningame or Mark Leonard or Thomas Magnuson that's came in. And for me, I think their back two have been absolutely outstanding all season long. Craig Halkett and Stuart Finlay. And that's where even mentioning the guys that they've got in the flanks, Harry Milne and Kiziridis. I just don't see a weakness that they've got. They've scored goals in the last minute. They're great defensively, good going forward. They've got the best set piece record in the league. So that's the reason why for a long period of time that I felt as if they're the real deal. Because I think when you have, when you look at, say, Celtic, for example, over the years, I've not seen many weaknesses within Celtic over the last 5, 6, 7 seasons. And I think any time you feel as if that, no, it's a team that you're chasing down, you look at where can they potentially slip up. I think the big question was with Hearts, how are they going to deal without Lawrence Shankar and Cammy Devlin?
Yeah.
Listen, they've dealt with that extremely fine. They went through a period of game where they obviously played St Mirren and Paisley, they had Edinburgh Derby, they had Rangers and Celtic. They came out of that batch of the game still top of the table. And since then, they've just extended their lead even further.
Peter, the Hearts story's been incredible. As Andy says, you know, Lawrence Shankar and Cammy Devlin, they'll come back eventually and that'll feel like new signings that'll presumably invigorate the squad. Do you have any concerns from a Hearts point of view? There's a lot of talk about, you know, a bit of anxiety at Tynecastle at the moment amongst the fans, but it's working right now. Tynecastle is a fortress. I do notice, you know, their last 2 away results, you know, are both defeats. Obviously, that 4-2 defeat against Rangers. Before that was that 1-0 defeat midweek against St Mirren. Could that be their Achilles heel, you feel, or have they got what it takes?
I think they've had 2 massive results with Falkirk and Aberdeen. I think they've been massive results for them because I think if you look at it, Tynecastle's going to be like that. Even though it's 1-0 in the tie, it's close and all the pressure's on them to go and try and win the league and win the game. The teams are expected to beat. That's when the pressure comes with Hearts because they're playing Celtic or Rangers. They know it's going to be a tough game. That's what everybody thinks. Or Motherwell, even with their performances. Now they're looking at, well, we've got to win this one and you can win that. And you can hear the players starting to talk about that. You can hear the nervousness coming down from the stand. And I've been there. I was involved in the game that I think Hearts went 22 games unbeaten when in 85, 86. And we won the league in goal difference. We never seen that ever happen. But it went to the very last day and we needed to score 4, I think it was. We scored 5 and Hearts lose 2 goals in the last kick of the ball. And it wouldn't surprise me if this goes as far as that because there's so many teams involved because I expect Motherwell to pick up a lot of points. I expect Rangers to pick up a lot of points, same with Celtic, same with Hearts. So I don't know who's going to give, but they're going to be playing each other and that's the ones that you have to win when you're playing each other. You know you've got to look after the ones. But the pressure on Hearts to win the games at Tynecastle where they're expected, that's when they'll feel the nervousness in the crowd.
I've been saying that this is the most exciting season ever, Peter, and then you go and bring up that season. Was that season more exciting, would you say? I mean, you had skin in the game in that one, right enough, but...
Yeah, but I think the difference for us was, I think we had 8 games, we had to win all 8. In the last 8 games, we had to win every single one to get level, and points if Hearts continued to win.
Yeah.
And that was a big problem. We had a midweek game to catch up, and we'd done that. We beat Motherwell, I think, at Fir Park. Then we had to go to Pays on the last day. But still, even that as well, and Hearts only need a draw. We need to score 4, you know, and with 2 minutes left to go, it's still Hearts' title. You never seen them conceding. And then, obviously, Kidd scores, and we all thought it was Walter Kidd. Thankfully, it was Albert Kidd. So, but that's how far it can go. That's why the concentration is massive for all the teams, and you're never going to go out it. But you're right, I think the big question mark comes when the teams play before Hearts. If they do that and put the points in the bag and they're getting a little bit closer, then there becomes a more edginess around about it for any of the teams that's involved.
Andy's thinking this is like a history lesson when football was in black and white.
It was.
Here's quite literally.
No idea what we're talking about, Andy, do you?
No, I do. I actually do. Because was it not the season after? Was that not the last time that, or the season after the season before was the last time that somebody outside the old firms obviously won the league?
That's right.
With Sir Alex Ferguson's Aberdeen. So listen, we're talking 40 years ago. Yeah. So it shows that.
Thanks for that.
It shows that seasons like
looking good, Peter.
It shows that seasons like this season, they've not came around often over the last few decades or so. So I mean, it's absolutely incredible. And Peter's right. I think it's a completely different type of pressure when Celtic are going to be the team that's playing first, and if Celtic get that 3 points on board, then the pressure goes all onto Hearts, which Rangers and Celtic have basically had to deal with all season long. I feel like at this moment in time, if Celtic win their game in hand, it's 5 point cushion. I think 5 points as a cushion going into the split, I think, is massive for Hearts. Yeah. I really do. I think if that dwindles down to 2, 3, I think then that's the real pressure that's going to be put on Hearts towards the back end.
We have to talk about the Old Firm derby. Obviously, it's just happened today, and it was a fantastic match to watch. Obviously, it's huge implications in terms of the title race, and points share means that it's a great day for both Hearts and Motherwell. But I'm just intrigued by Yousef Chermiti, Andy, because I think I asked Michael Stewart a few weeks ago, does he have the potential to be a top striker? He didn't feel like he does, but then suddenly he conjures up these moments in another big game, and that overhead kick. I mean, is it just a contender for goal of the season, or is it goal of the season, or how good was it? I mean, and we're always having to compare it to Scott McTominay's effort against Denmark. Did you say on the programme, actually, on Sports Scene, that it was better than McTominay's, or did you not come down?
No, I compared it. That is what I done.
Well, what is it? Is it better, or was it?
I'm going to edge towards Scott McTominay for Denmark. The thing with Scott McTominay at Denmark is what always sort of baffled me was how high his foot actually was. Yeah. But again, take nothing away from Yousef Chermiti. It's incredible technique, it's incredible athleticism.
So does he have the
potential? Audacity to even try that. I mean, my back was sore watching it for the stand, never mind him attempting it on the pitch. It was unbelievable.
So, I mean, he has been much maligned. And it is the debate. I mean, do you see a player there that has the potential to be a really top striker? Because in flashes, well, we can all see for ourselves how good that goal was.
Yeah, attributes, yes. Performance levels, no. Okay. I think that is it. Because I think attributes, I think he's got pretty much everything. I think the one thing you could probably criticise him for is obviously his lack of goals, but I think there's been a lot of occasions in games that I don't think he's looked like scoring. I don't think he's been on the end of cross balls enough or had enough shots on goal. And you quite often say it with strikers, when they're missing chances, you're fine with that because they're in the right area, they're getting on the end of things. But I think there's been too many games where Yousef Chermiti's not had a shot and he's not looked like scoring. And we spoke about it in the show. I think that's now the fourth game that Rangers have played with two strikers. He scored a hat-trick against Hearts. He scored a double yesterday against against Celtic. So I just feel like that burden taken off him with a striker playing alongside him. He doesn't have to do so much running outside the box, so much link-up play outside the box and running channels. He can be a bit more of a predatory striker that's in the box and try to get on the end of things. And I think at this moment in time, it looks as if it's suiting him a lot better.
So should Rangers play with two up top for the remainder of the season?
Well, listen, it's Queen's Park. I don't want to take any disrespect towards Queen's Park, but I mean, Rangers scored 8 against them. Yeah. They then followed that up with 4 goals against 4 goals against Hearts,
Hearts,
sorry.
yeah.
They then scored 2 last week against Livingston and then 2 today against Celtic. So they're looking a lot more potent at the top end of the pitch. But that being said, they've now conceded 2 goals in the last 3 games. And that's one thing that Danny Rule, straight away when he first came in the door, he made Rangers a lot harder to beat, a lot more solid defensively. So if they can find that balance between the two, where they are a lot more of a threat at the top end of the pitch and a lot more solid, then you never know what could happen. I genuinely think anything can happen. It's just been that type of season.
It really is.
I think it suits Rangers.
They have 2 up top.
Yeah, because the 2 wide players can play a little bit narrower. They can get under the game. Chermiti's runs, and you've seen it in the second half against Celtic when he was up there on his own. He goes and presses the ball, doesn't know where to go, and he looks as if he's getting played round. Whereas when they've got possession, they've got 2 strikers up, he can make the runs on the channel, but Rangers have still got a centre forward in the middle of the goal if he's playing with another striker. So it doesn't. People are saying stay in the box. So you can't do both. But when you play with 2 strikers and drag somebody away, it gives him more space, and it doesn't leave a defender sitting there saying, well, I'm free. All of a sudden they're occupied, and I definitely think it helps him. And his work ethic, I don't think anybody can ever question his work ethic. His quality, been in areas they could score off his first touch, because I always judge top strikers, he'd been in an area where they can score goals. But if he's not scoring or Nadiri's scoring, nobody will bother about that. But I think they've got the wide players that can create, and if you're getting people that's putting more pressure on the opposition defenders, and I think Andy's 100% right. For me, for Rangers, I think they have the balance in the midfield now that they can play with 2 strikers, because I think they've got the power in there and the legs now, and they've got 2 guys that can take guys on in 1v1 duels. So getting crosses in the box, I think that'll be a big thing for Rangers, and that'll make Chermiti a better player.
I think another player that it really suits for me is Mikey Moore. So I think the 2 strikers occupying the opposition centre halves, I think he's finding lovely pockets of space in behind the opposition's midfield. And me and Peter were talking about it before the show started, and there was so much to cram in such a and obviously that hour slot. Mikey Moore in the first half today, it might get lost given how well Celtic played in the second half, and there was so much to talk about. It was a draw in the end, but for 18-year-old to play in that, this fixture can swallow you up. It's as simple as that. I mean, Oxlade-Chamberlain is an unbelievable player, playing massive games. You can see how difficult it was for him today to try and get up to the speed of the game, and you see an 18-year-old like Mikey Moore take to the game the way he did. I thought he was absolutely outstanding in the first half, and that a real breath of fresh air in the way he plays. Gets the ball, gets on the half turn, wants to affect games, drives at defenders. I think it's something that we don't see as much as maybe the last 10, 15, 20 years or so. I thought he was absolutely excellent in that first half.
Peter, for the umpteenth time it feels this season, Celtic got a stoppage time goal to sort of save the result for them this season. How confident are you for their trip up to Aberdeen, first and foremost, on Wednesday night? And more generally, can they keep on doing this? Do you see them sustaining their title fight? I mean, mind is still fresh of them losing at home to Hibs.
Yeah, the title fight for me would have been over if the games were equal now. If they had dropped points today and they had no catch-up game and the points difference was the same, I think that would have been over. Going to Aberdeen, it's never been easy. I've played there a load of times when Aberdeen have not been so good or whatever, and it was always a difficult game. So Celtic will know they're in a match. There is absolutely no doubt about that. But it's a must Celtic win. That is it, because you've got to go there, you've got to win that game in hand, because, as I say, I would rather be sitting in Hearts' position, all the games played, points in the bag. There is absolutely no doubt of that. Hearts are in pole position. Celtic have to go to win, and Andy's right. Celtic Rangers have to continually win, because Hearts are sitting up there now, and if they continue to win, nobody can do anything. That's fact. But going to Aberdeen, that is the one that Celtic can't take their eyes off. People will be talking about the Rangers game in the Cup next week. Forget about that. It's all about this one against Aberdeen. That's the most important game in the calendar. And to be fair to this group of boys, they've not played well this season, but they keep going. They've shown guts. Places at Kilmarnock, which is always tough, they kept going there even though I thought Kilmarnock on that particular day were excellent, but they kept going. They've shown it time and time again now. Now they've got to try and put a performance together. And I think today, the late on in the game, the James Forrest and that even coming on and being a wee bit more direct and getting bodies in the box and playing higher up the pitch suited Celtic much better. They have to continue that, because I thought they'd done that in Stuttgart, but today they gave Rangers too much time in possession of the ball to lift their head, never won any second balls. And football never changes. If you don't win the competitive side of it, you'll never win nothing. And Celtic have to do that, because they have the players when they've got the ball to play, but you've got to get that ball first, and that'll never ever change.
I wonder if Martin O'Neill 20 years ago thought that he'd be celebrating his 74th birthday, trying to keep the peace on the Ibrox turf during an Old Firm derby, Andy. It was brilliant to see, frankly, and everybody listened and started behaving, didn't they?
Yeah, he looked nimble enough, to be fair to him. He did well getting in among some big boys, I swear that has to be said.
Yeah.
But listen, it was...
But see on that, the experience of Martin was telling him,
yes,
I can't afford a player to get a red card.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing. And I'm sure Danny Rowe would have been the same. We can't afford players to get red, because that can be the difference. VAR can be the difference. That's why I'm saying give them great credit for the decision they made, because nobody's seen it. They thought Jack Butland had made a fantastic save. Martin goes on and says, right, I don't want the players to get involved, because if somebody lifts their hands, we're a player down again. And you don't need that. And it can be the small details that become massive in this running.
Do you see Celtic as champions this season at all, Andy? Or could Martin O'Neill be the difference? Because I think there's a general consensus that this Celtic squad is not as strong as we've seen in recent seasons.
Well, one thing's for sure, after 45 minutes I couldn't see it, because I thought if Celtic lost the game today, and listen, the history books will tell you can't rule them out because they've dominated over a decade in terms of league titles, but I think given their performances in the games they've won in the last minute against Kilmarnock and Livingston and Dundee, and then dropping points, losing the game against Hibs last week at Celtic Park, then going into that first half performance today, I thought if they lost the game, I couldn't see any way that Celtic would come back and win the league title. The fact of the matter is we actually don't know how important that last minute goal is. We don't know if that means that Celtic can win the title. We don't know if that means it stops Rangers from winning the league title. But one thing's for sure, it's another weekend that Hearts have came out as the major winners.
Well, I was thinking that when Motherwell beat St Mirren 5-0, I was thinking against Bertolaescu, he's thinking these are the goals and goal difference that are going to help us win the title.
And again, I don't think people have probably spoken about that enough. I think it's 6 goals better off that Hearts are to Celtic. I think they're 4 better off to Rangers, and that can feel like a point, especially when your games are dwindling down. There's not many goals left. But that being said, you might end up scoring 5 in the last game of the season.
I think we won it with a goal, and that's what you've got to keep doing, and that's why you can't switch off, and how disciplined your team's got to be, and that's why I made that point about Martin, because he's seen that and think, oof, imagine it's a striker who gets put off from one of your centre halves when you've got other boys out, lifts his hands and gets a red card. And I think it's going to go that close. That it can be something, a VAR decision. I hope it's not, but it could be something as close as that, because I think everybody's in that fight at this moment in time. Motherwell right through. There's no getting away from that, because they've all got to play each other. Going into the last 6 then, the games before that will tell us a hell of a lot.
Who's got the best goal difference in the division, do you know?
Motherwell.
Yeah. The number?
29.
Very good, Andy.
Dundee United finished 4th last season with -4.
Incredible, isn't it? And that says a lot about this season, the fact that, and even Hibs in 5th place have got +13, which says a lot about this season. Yeah, Motherwell, best goal difference in the division with 29, then it's Hearts with 28, Rangers 26, Celtic 21. Anyway, probably getting a bit geeky at this point. Anyway, let's talk about, very briefly, Falkirk versus Kilmarnock. A fantastic performance from Falkirk. Barney Stewart in particular could have had a hat-trick on another day. What a story he's had since coming from university football to becoming one of the top strikers in the Premiership, basically. So fantastic from a Falkirk point of view, all but sealing their place in the top 6. In terms of Kilmarnock, how concerned are you for them? Andy, their next league match is at home to Hearts, yes, a week on Saturday, under the lights at Rugby Park.
My gut's telling me I think they've got enough, to be honest.
21 points, they're, just to clarify, 7 points ahead of Livingston, yeah.
Yeah, I think since Neil McCann and Dodgy have went in, I've seen an upturn in terms of their performance levels. I think they're a lot more compact. I think they've got a lot more of a threat going forward. I think that injury to John Jules is obviously going to be a huge blow for them. And as much as for me, I think any other season Falkirk are the story of the season, but given how this season's went, it's almost went under the radar a wee bit how well they've actually done. But I think at this moment in time, me personally, I'm more confident in Kilmarnock getting points than I am with St Mirren. I think St Mirren fans have to be worried with the form that they've been in over the last sort of month or two, well, even longer than that, since they won the League Cup final against Celtic. And I think Dundee, for me, I think they've got enough quality. I think now they've got a decent enough gap, between them and second bottom. But again, it's not too dissimilar to the top of the table. I think Livingston, for me, I think they're too far adrift now. I think they had to start winning games maybe a month ago, and yes, there's been an upturn in performance levels as well, but not enough wins on the board to stay safe. Yeah,
that's it. I mean, Livingston are on 14 points, bottom of the table. Kilmarnock on 21 points, obviously 7 points ahead. Both teams have played the same amount of games. Then third bottom is St Mirren. They've got a game in hand on Kilmarnock and Livingston. They're 3 points ahead of Kilmarnock at this point in time. St Mirren drawing with Livingston at the weekend, obviously 1-1. I think we should mention as well the Dundee Hibs game. I mean, it was a belter of a game, and I think Cam Congreve's goal. I mean, Yusuf Chermiti's goal will get all the headlines, but Congreve's goal was absolutely outstanding, was it not?
He's been outstanding every game I've seen him. You know, I thought he spoke very well after the game. He said he had a big opportunity to create a chance, and he gave the ball away, or he made the wrong choice, and then he kept getting in there. But every time I've seen him, he's been a threat. And great credit to Stephen Presley. I think he's made a couple of loan signs that's been outstanding for him, because he's got a lot of criticism at the start of the season, and it's very difficult then to get players to buy in to what you're trying to do. But for me, the catalyst for it all is Simon Murray. Honest to goodness, I think he chases things, he makes things happen, and it creates space for other guys. And I think that's a big thing for Dundee. I think he's been outstanding. I'm delighted for Stephen Presley, because he came on for a lot of criticism, which he didn't deserve, because he's trying to work, he's trying to learn the job, trying to bring players in and build the football club. But Dundee have been excellent. I watched them when they beat Celtic 2-0. It could have been easily more. They dominated. I think it was Brendan, maybe last game, was it? Second last game or something.
Something like that, yeah.
And they were outstanding that day.
They were.
And Congreve that day was brilliant. I thought he gave Kieran Tierney a real hard time in that particular match, and not many do that. So they've got a lot of players, and at Celtic Park they'd done fantastically well a couple of weeks back, and were unfortunate not to win the game. So he's done exceptionally well. So I see Dundee sneaking away for that with their performances.
It's such an unorthodox finish when you see it, because quite often when it's a bouncing ball like that, players will use their laces, no time to strike it as hard as they possibly can. But a bouncing ball, the ball's rising, he actually uses his instep just to whip it into that far corner. And I think you also have to add the fact it's the 95th minute. I think it was the last kick of the game. It's so easy at that stage in the game to get a bit of a head rush and blaze it into the stand. I know I've done that plenty of times, but he's managed to get his chest and his head over the ball, whip it into the far corner, and I thought it was a terrific game in general. I think they are two teams, Dundee and Hibs, where there always seems as if there's goals in both of their teams' games, because they have got so much attacking threat at the top end of the pitch, and then let's say both of them will probably get a wee bit more fragility at the back.
Will Jens Bertolask be seeing a bit of that from you tomorrow in training, Andy?
Certainly not that type of technique, no.
If he doesn't take cramp before training.
Especially when my calf feels a day, it might be just get it and pass it.
Brilliant stuff, guys. It's about time we went home. It's been an amazing weekend. Andy Halliday, Peter Grant, thank you very much indeed. Remember, we're here with new episodes of the Scottish Football Podcast bright and early every day, so to make sure you don't miss out, subscribe on BBC Sounds and have push notifications turned on in your phone. Scottish football, the gift that keeps on giving. Thanks for listening.
For everything you need to know about your team this season, download the BBC Sport app. All the latest news, goal updates, stats and scores, and insight and analysis. Just select your club to get the biggest stories and best content at your fingertips. What a result. Download the BBC Sport app for everything you need to know about your team this season.